Hey everyone, thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to go over Ethereum with respect to Bitcoin. So if you guys like this content, please subscribe to the channel and turn your notifications on. And check out the Telegram channel in the description below. So we're going to keep this video fairly brief. The main purpose of it is to just talk about kind of what we've been talking about for the last several months and try to figure out if we're currently in the move that we have been anticipating. So if you're new to the channel, one of the things that we talk about a lot on the channel is this idea that, historically, Ethereum has a really good move with respect to Bitcoin in the first quarter of the year. And historically, buying Ethereum in the last quarter of the year and selling it at some point in the first quarter of the year would often prove to be fairly lucrative. Now, we didn't know if this trend would continue, but we just said, okay, hey, this has happened in the past. Let's see if it happens again. So here you can see in 2015, and note that this is Ethereum Bitcoin, not US dollar. But you can see that, we had in December of 2015, we had a fairly low with the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio, and I think it was around 0.002 or around there. And we spiked up all the way, to 0.03 or so. So over an order of magnitude gain with respect to Bitcoin. That was in the first quarter of 2016. In the first quarter of 2017, we went from around 0.007 or 0.008 all the way up to in March, so in the first quarter, we went up to 0.05. So a pretty good run. And then even later that year, we continued to move up all the way up until June. But again, it follows the pattern of, buy in December and then sell in the first quarter. And then buy in December and then sell in the first quarter. Again, in December of 2017, it would have followed the same pattern: buy in December and then sell in the first quarter. Even 2018, 2019, I mean, here we are: buy in December and then sell in the first quarter. And we said, we don't know if this is going to, obviously history does not always repeat itself. We know that for a fact, and it certainly might not. But the point is we can use past cycles to try to inform our future decisions. So we said, well, what if we make the same assumption and say, all right, well, since historically buying in December would often then give you a great time to sell, and this is Ethereum Bitcoin, remember that. So basically converting some Bitcoin to Ethereum, or just buying Ethereum in December and then selling in the first quarter. And then here we were back in December, and we said, all right, well, historically, buying in December is basically the best time to buy Ethereum with respect to Bitcoin, because every time so far we've seen a move upwards. And if you want to get an idea of the moves we've seen, we can take a price range here. So let's say from December up to sometime in the first quarter where it was peaking, we went up around 1,700, 1,800%. And then in the next year, buying in December and then selling, and we're not even, we could say up here, this is another 1,700%, but that's actually going until the second quarter. So that's not really the purpose of the video. We're saying, buy in December, sell in the first quarter. Now, I've also argued, you could say buy in the first or second quarter. But let's keep it simple and say, what if you had just bought in December, sold in the first quarter? And this, in 2017, you could have seen a 617% gain with respect to Bitcoin. Then in 2018, buying in December, selling in the first quarter, you could have seen a 365% gain with respect to Bitcoin. And then finally, in December of 2018, and then selling in 2019, in the first quarter of 2019, barely in the first quarter, early January, but still not. Even if you hadn't sold there, you could have sold over here in February and still seen a 50% gain with respect to Bitcoin. But anyways, you get the idea. Historically, it's been a great time to buy Bitcoin. Now, you can also see that the percent moves each time are lower and lower if you're just talking about buying in December and selling in the first quarter. And, um, part of this is just, the nature of the market cycle. In 2016, this corresponded to Bitcoin holding the 20-week moving average as support. In 2017, it corresponded to Bitcoin reaching its previous all-time high. And then in 2018, it corresponded to the end of Bitcoin's bull run. And then here in 2019, it corresponded to nothing that spectacular, but it was just back in January of 2019. Maybe people were just buying Ethereum because of past cycles on an annual cycle, even though fundamentally there's nothing really to say why that would be the case, but it's an observation that we've made. Now that brings us to where we are today. So in December, we were saying, I made a video, and I know a lot of people have, or at least I've been reached out to by a lot of people saying, oh look, it did go up, and we're gonna look to see how much it has gone up. So again, buying in December, you could have bought here December 23rd, and then selling sometime in the first quarter. We're already up. 35% or so, and this is with respect to Bitcoin. Now, the question is this, we saw 1,750%, then 600%, 360%, 55%, 35%. Is this ratio going to continue decreasing, or are we basically going to repeat the cycle? And maybe see a similar type moves as the last market cycle. Now, again, Bitcoin, as I've said before, Bitcoin holding the 20-week moving average is great for altcoin sentiment. That's a lot of times that's when altcoin sentiment returns to the market. And back in April of 2019, when Bitcoin broke through the 20-week moving average, that's when a lot of altcoins took off. And again, Bitcoin just broke through the 20-week moving average a few weeks ago. And right on schedule, a lot of people are getting excited about altcoins. Now, of course, if Bitcoin were to fall below the 20-week moving average, if it were to just catastrophically fall below it, and kick the can down the road, basically, and say, you know what, I'm not holding the 20-week moving average right now, but, ask me again at the end of 2020, and I'll see how I feel then. That's a possibility. So I don't want everyone to think like, oh, it has to, we're definitely going up, like we saw a move over here. Now, on the other hand, that doesn't mean we can't see a decent move with respect to Bitcoin, because, I think a lot of people feel that Ethereum is undervalued, and when I say that kind of stuff, I usually get a lot of comments related to that, and it's hard to definitively say exactly, what the price of Ethereum, what the fair valuation should be. But when we've seen ratios with Bitcoin as high as 0.15, and when it's currently sitting at around an order of magnitude less than that, when it was sitting at an order of magnitude less than that, it just felt like it was very undervalued. And we said, well, let's buy Ethereum. Let's, it's not financial advice. This was just my own, how I operate or whatever. We said, okay, let's buy Ethereum in December and then sell sometime in the first or second quarter of 2020. So again, if you're not sure whether you should sell yet, I'm personally not selling any Ethereum right now. I still feel like I don't really think that this move is what I'm looking for. If Ethereum does go back down, then so be it, and I can continue to accumulate Ethereum. The risk level, if you follow the risk videos, the risk level of Ethereum is still definitely in the buy zone, and it's in a fairly, it's not even in the highest buy zone for moderate investors. It's still in a decent buy zone. So I'm actually still dollar cost averaging my Bitcoin or my Ethereum buys right now. And I will be looking, to see, hopefully we're going to see another move, where we maybe come up a bit more over the next month or two. But again, only time will tell. And if we do, if we do start making a move, then you need to be prepared, and consider if you might want to, sell some at some point, and try to get in again later. So you can see every time that Ethereum has gone up, it has ultimately corrected back down. So I mean, this one back in 2015, 2016, we went up a lot, but then also it came back down. I mean, the ratio went up to around 0.03 or 0.04, but then it came all the way back down to 0.008. And then the ratio went up to 0.05, and then it did come back down to 0.035. And then in 2017, 2018, it went from 0.026 up to zero point 0.1, and then it came back down to 0.06 or 0.05. So just consider that. Don't. I think it's important to stay level-headed and have a plan moving forward. If Ethereum were to really start moving and get up to $300 or $400, within the next few months, there's a good chance I would at least dollar cost average a sell. Maybe it would be 10% of my Ethereum or something, but I would probably dollar cost average a small portion of Ethereum in the short term and hope it keeps moving up. And if it does, then I would just sell more. And if it doesn't, then we'll kick the can down the road and revisit it later. So I just wanted to give everyone an update on Ethereum, and we're eyeing this move. We're saying we anticipated a move coming, and if you did follow that December guidance, then you would already be up around 30% with respect to Bitcoin, which is not bad. I mean, it's still not bad. I mean, you could convert your Ethereum back to Bitcoin immediately and be up a decent amount. But for me, I'm actually very bullish on Ethereum in the long term. So I do like to have a sizable stack of Ethereum. So I think that'll wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys like this content. If you guys want to continue to see more about Ethereum and Bitcoin, then let me know in the comments below. And again, check out the Telegram channel in the description below if you want to talk more about this stuff. And if you want to see more stuff like this, then subscribe to the channel. All right, guys. Bye.